How can you turn your give back project into a purpose-driven career? Join me and my former client, Carrie Farrington, for a fun conversation on purpose. In this episode, you're going to learn tangible tips to help you find your present purpose, as well as tips to help you pivot when things no longer feel aligned. Carrie is an Army veteran and certified life coach. She's on a mission to change the narrative from struggling veteran to thriving veteran, one veteran at a time. Having experienced reintegration herself and having worked through all of the oh shits and now what's, makes Carrie the secret weapon you want in your arsenal as you make the transition from military to civilian life. This conversation is part of my special 10-episode client feature where I am featuring incredible clients who inspire me. Today's episode is sponsored by the Mayfair Hotel and Eve American Bistro in downtown Los Angeles, home of my annual 3-day event, Amplified Soul Live. This event is guaranteed to provide you with the tools to create influence and impact and strategies to boldly stand out and be recognized for the work that you do. The 2019 event takes place February 22nd to the 24th. For tickets and info, please head to rubyfremon.com/ASL. Now it is time to continue this 10-episode client feature with the lovely Carrie Farrington. Hey, thought leaders, we are back with the second episode in my 10-episode client feature. And I'm super excited about this special client because she's rocking the hair that I was once rocking, but now I'm all natural. So for those of you watching the video, you get to see this. For those of you on audio only, Carrie Farrington rocks the sassiest. I don't even know what color to call this now. It's like a pink mahogany, is it?
Yeah, it changes. So yeah, it's in the pink maroon spectrum.
Yeah. You'll see it when you check out her website, but I'm excited to dive in with you, Carrie, because things have shifted a lot in your life, and I would love for our listeners to learn more. So part of the work that you do and what you're here to do, what you know you're here to do now,
Yes,
is tell us. Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank. Okay, so my mission is to change the stigma, to change the story of a struggling veteran, broken veteran to thriving veteran, one veteran at a time. So yeah, that is my mission. And yes, should I just go ahead and introduce myself?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would love for our listeners to know why this is so important. I mean, it is definitely an epidemic, but why is this so important for you?
Yes. So now I can say why. Okay, so I am an Army veteran. I served 4 years, and I was also married to another service member for 15 years. So although I myself did not see combat, he did multiple times, and I am very intimately acquainted with the effects of multiple deployments and long-term military service. So that is why this is so very dear to my heart, because I have experienced transition and reintegration myself, and I have also seen those around my now ex-husband, all of the people that he served with, the effects of the deployment and long-term service and how they really struggled. So that's why this is a big thing for me.
Yeah. And for our listeners who don't understand the term reintegration, what Carrie's referring to is when veterans come back to civilian life, really, is when they leave their posts and they're like, okay, I'm thrown back into regular life. Now what?
Yes. Now what? That is the big question. That is the big question that everybody asks, that every single veteran struggles with. And I it does not matter if you serve for 4 years like I did, or if you gave your 20 to 30. Every single veteran struggles with the now what question.
Mm-hmm. And so I get the why, but I'm wondering, especially for our listeners, a lot of the listeners for today's thought leader are people who have purpose, or people who are
Mhm.
really seeking to put their purpose into work. But they may not necessarily know what their purpose is or be clear on that. And for you, what was that experience like? Like, did you know that this was the work that you always wanted to do?
Mm-mm. Yeah, so I certainly did not know this when I was getting out of the military. That this wasn't even a thing then, or at least I didn't know that it was.
It wasn't even on your radar.
No. So I always say that I have taken the very circuitous route in life,
Mm.
and I look like I have squiggles going around, and there are no straight lines. So last year was a year of great change for me, and even back it up a little bit further than that. I I heard you on a podcast,
Mhm.
somebody else's podcast.
Yeah, because my podcast didn't exist back then.
No, your podcast didn't exist yet, and I was like, and being a life coach had kind of showed up on my radar, but I still
Mm.
didn't kind of know like everything that entailed.
And this
And
is when you're in civilian life. Like, this is when
yes.
you're back,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
reintegration. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I was still married at the time, so still experiencing all of those things in the home, but I myself was out.
Mm.
And yeah, so I heard you on a podcast, and I knew immediately. I was like, I want to do what she does. And I also knew that I wanted to work with you,
Mhm.
like at that moment. So even after I pursued my certification to become a life coach, I still didn't kind of have it, narrowed in. And I started off like on the empowered woman route, and
Mhm.
that was good, but it still wasn't like quite gelling with me. And in my mind, I always had veterans as like a give back project, something that I would do for charity or, contribute in some way, but not for coaching specifically.
Mhm.
And a lot of that had to do with, obviously, veterans are very close to my heart, but at that point in time, I still was not uh, outwardly claiming that I was a veteran.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
yes,
Mhm.
um, a lot of that had to do, there's a lot of comparisonitis going on for me at that point in time, due to the fact that all of the truly great men and women that I was surrounded with, um, and I am like, I just gave 4 years. I kept saying,
Mhm. Yeah.
I only gave 4 years. These men and women have done so much more than I have. They've given their entire adult lives to pursue this, deployments and all of that. And what am I in comparison to that? So claiming veteran for me, that took a lot for me to grow into.
Right, because somehow you felt less than.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I
Mhm.
felt less than. And so once I started to shed that less than,
Mhm.
and I was like, why this is very, very needed. Coaching veterans is needed. Um, is there aren't too many coaches who understand through living it
Mhm.
what the needs of a veteran are.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I certainly know what they are.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, how I started to own my voice and claim claim my purpose. And once I kind of shed all of that, like my purpose was so clear. And now I get up, even if it's a hard day, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like trying to figure out all the tech stuff, because tech stuff is not my jam.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not my zone of genius. But even if it's a hard day of that, um, I'm still driven. Like, I will do this, and it doesn't matter. I will keep going.
Yeah, because it's like what I always say, your purpose outweighs your bullshit.
Yes, right now it certainly outweighs my bullshit.
So let's like make this super granular so people really understand what happened, because I think many people have a cloudy knowing of what it is that excites them or that they're passionate about, but have a tougher time bringing it into reality the way in which you did. Like for you, you went life coach, this feels good. And then you realized, okay, but this work that I'm doing, empowering women, this is okay. It just doesn't feel like the thing.
Yeah.
And then you landed on, oh, okay, I'm going to coach veterans. But what does that actually look like? And how does one go through that process? Because, I mean, let's face it, finding your purpose is so trendy nowadays. Everyone wants to find their purpose. But like, how do we actually land on it? And I love that you said first you had to own. You had to own the fact that you are a veteran. So that speaks a lot on ownership and taking ownership for where you are, what you be, who you be, which I feel has a really big impact on your ability to uncover your purpose. But what else really served you during that time of what really feels like transformation within yourself and realization of the thing that you have been placed on this planet to do?
Yeah, so this is what I also help my veterans. I call it your present purpose.
I love
Like,
that.
not trying to figure out your entire life at
Mhm.
this one particular point, or for the rest of your life, but to like, what is it right now? And for me, how I said, like, my life goes like this,
Squiggly. She's drawing a
yes,
squiggly line, by the way.
yes, making squiggle lines. So, for me, it was about following my curiosity, just that
Mm.
thing at that point in time that kind of lit me up, and just continuing to take action on that to see where that led me. Because when I heard you and I was like, that's what I want to do, I had no idea that it would end up looking like this.
Mm.
And so for me, it's just about just following that curiosity. And even though you can only see, so I'm making like a small circle and looking through it, even though you can only see like this, the more action you take, the more it opens up for you.
Mm.
And then you can become more focused. As you take more action, you can become more focused on, because you're going to try a lot of things that just aren't
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And that is okay. I think that it's kind of like trying on clothes.
Mhm.
You stack up when you go to the dressing room, when you try on 15 different things,
Mhm.
and then only a couple work. Well, you
Right.
try, yeah, what doesn't work because you tried them on. Okay, so those are in the discard pile. Don't pay any attention to those and go with a few things that did work. And
What
then
a great analogy.
yeah, well,
We
close.
can we can we can call it the dressing room analogy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that you said that you followed your curiosity. And I mean, Carrie, let's be honest, that takes guts. Like that takes courage to follow our curiosity, because often the curiosity leads you outside your comfort zone.
way way outside.
Right. And I think that's where a lot
Yeah.
of people get stuck is like, oh, I'm curious about this. Oh, that kind of excites me. But if I lean into this, it's going to take me outside my comfort zone. I don't want to go there. And then you end up being stuck where you are. So, I mean, that's amazing that you just chose that route. I'm going to choose to follow my curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that if something like gives you that little bit of excitement inside, and it's kind of exciting and scary all at the same time, and then that is exactly what you should do.
Mm,
And fear is going to be with you if you're standing still or if you're moving forward.
mm,
So just go with it. It's fine.
mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing that I've always, I say that this client feature series is really focused on my clients because they inspire me. And what inspires me about you is you're really not afraid to take action. And I don't know if it's like the fact that you're a veteran and you're just used to being thrown into situations that might have been uncomfortable, but I just love that about you. It's, you followed your curiosity, you took action over and over and over again, and a lot of shit didn't work.
Yeah.
Like you really put in a ton of effort to build your, let's call it phase one of your coaching business,
Hmm.
where it was all about empowering women.
Yeah.
The copy, the messaging, like everything,
All the everything.
all the everything, all
Yes.
the techie things. And then to go and say, yeah, you know what, but this isn't actually what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
And to change
That was
everything.
that was a really scary point for me.
Mm.
But I was like, well, I've already kind of done it once. So I had like a little preview.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I know the steps now. So just make new copy.
Yeah.
Change the messaging. And at the same time, it was scary and it was hard, but it was also easier because I knew exactly who I was talking to.
Mm.
And I knew, it was me, so many years ago. It was the men and women that that were all around me. So I knew what they needed. I knew what I needed back then. So the messaging became much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really important to mention too, because I think a lot of people try and fit themselves into what they claim
Mhm.
to be their purpose versus like your purpose just fits you. Like it just
Yes.
fits and you just know.
Hmm.
And I experienced the same thing when I transitioned my niche and went
Hmm.
into thought leadership and working with thought leaders. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in their heads. I know how to think this. I know what's going on. I know what they're struggling with. I know all of this and it feels easy. So it's really important that our listeners get that from you. And although like shit doesn't really technically get easier, it gets more ease filled, right?
Yeah, it doesn't it doesn't get easier.
Mm-hmm.
And the either the more work you do on yourself or the more work you do in your business, whatever it is, uh, you conquer those things, and then new things pop up all the time.
Yeah.
It's like my pile of sticky notes. So I make to-do lists on my sticky notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I take one action and I'm able to throw that one sticky away, well, that one action creates like two new stickies. So that's kind of what it's like,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
life.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't get easier. There are still things that come up, but you've already been through something sort of similar, so you already have the tools in place. So you're just able to move forward a little bit faster.
Mm, yeah, that's awesome. Um, what is your ultimate vision for this?
Hmm. Oh, you're asking me to go big.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually have two big ones.
Okay.
Damn. I don't believe you're
Let's
getting me
make
to
some
say this.
fucking declarations.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. I can't believe you're getting me to say this out loud for all the world to hear.
And
Yes.
she's doing it, FYI, because she's a well-trained client.
Yes. There are steps in place. Okay. So two big visions, two big ultimate visions. One is to create change at the DoD level, that's Department of Defense,
Mm,
at the DoD level for those military members who are about to leave military life and transition into civilian life, to put something into place so that the, so veterans don't go out still wondering, now what, or what do I do with all of this fear and uncertainty, to put something in place there. And have it be because we all have mandatory classes that we have to take, things to check off the box, when you're it's part of your out processing. And I want that to be one of the boxes that you have to check when you're out processing. And then, so that's on the, when you're just getting outside. And then the other big one is to have retreat centers in every state that veterans can come to and receive coaching, counseling, camaraderie, team building, kind of a place to regroup and to grow after, once they are fully, well, not fully, but once they are reintegrating back into civilian life.
Thank you for making those declarations and sharing your vision, because you never know who's listening. So if there is someone listening that can actually support Carrie in making this happen quicker, reach out to her. Her links are going to be in the show notes. And then finally, what's become possible in your life since our paths have crossed? And this is just me doing my little insert of, I'm not going to be shy about it. I'm very proud of our coaching journey, and I really thoroughly enjoyed witnessing you step into your power. And I remember there was even a moment at the retreat where I saw something pop in your head, and I was like, oh, there's an insight that's going to change her life. But what has really become possible for you?
Yeah. So what has become possible for me is, never did I think of myself as a leader. I was like second in command. And I was quite happy to stay there and to, kind of play that role. And through working with you, I've been able to claim the fact that, yes, I am a leader and I do have a voice, and what I have to say is important, and it is necessary, and it's needed. And so that's the big thing. I got a couple more if you'd like some.
Oh, yeah, I love that. And, I think owning our voice is something that so many of us struggle with. And once we step into that, there's so much more that comes and so much more that becomes available to us from just stepping into our power and owning our voice. So I'm really excited to see where you take this and what you create and what unfolds for you in your life with your vision. Now I know you've created an amazing training, right? For veterans going through the transition. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so it is a masterclass, and it's entitled "Now What?"
How fitting!
I know, right? Now what? Becoming the leader in your civilian life, or something to that effect is what I named it. And so it really dives deep down into, the now what question, and asking veterans to identify the fears that they are facing, and to support them in shifting those fears and turning that into action, and in a way, like I said before, to discover their present purpose, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So if there
Yeah.
are veterans listening or you have a veteran in your life, please refer them to the link in the show notes. Carrie, thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing your
Thank you.
insights and your story and your purpose with
Mhm.
the audience. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I was excited to do this.
Why don't you tell our listeners how they can stalk you online?
Yes. Okay. So I have a website, carriefarrington.com.
Mhm.
Carrie is
Well, I'll
Carrie.
put all of these in the
Okay,
show notes.
good.
Yeah.
Thank God. Like, this is a whole lot of spelling.
No, everything will be in the show notes. But
Yes,
so you
yes,
got the website. What about
yes.
social?
Social media, Instagram is Carrie Farrington. You can find me easy there. Facebook is, this one's weird. But anyways, it is c.farrington27.
Okay.
And you can, if you put in Carrie Farrington, you will find me.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Yeah.
It's the sassy pinkish mahogany hair at this moment
Yeah.
in time. It
Yes.
might
Yeah.
be different when you listen to this. I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea what it will be. Yes.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to put all those links in the show notes,
Okay.
including Carrie's freebie, which sounds like an amazing masterclass. Also, I'm just going to put this out there, Carrie. Now, what is a really fantastic brand? I fucking love
You.
the name.
Thank
So I just want
you.
to give you props on that. um,
Thank you.
so thank you so much, Carrie, for being here. To our listeners, I want to thank you so much for joining us for this special client feature on today's Thought Leader. Be sure to tune in tomorrow where I'm going to be featuring another incredible client and thought leader who inspires me. If you want to join me and Carrie in Los Angeles in February, please do so at my upcoming 3-day event in Los Angeles, Amplified Soul Live. The link for that is rubyfremon.com/ASL. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, please do so to either myself or Carrie online. This episode was graciously sponsored by the Mayfair Hotel and Eve American Bistro, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for another special edition of today's Thought Leader.